To a CTV News exclusive now.
Here's Jon Woodward with a hidden camera investigation.
Jon, you've been way ahead on the scandal from the start.
As Jon Woodward discovers in this W5 investigation.
CTV's Jon Woodward has the exclusive details.
We're going to take a look at the heart of the federal investigation. How did this happen?
Watch this card closely. Right now, it won't let us into the SkyTrain system, but if I hold it up to this cell phone, which is going to rewrite the data on the card, watch what happens. The gates let us in.
Then how do you explain that we've got a multitude of charges for you out in the Maritimes, including a warrant for your arrest?
Like 15 years ago, old stuff. I go back there
Not old, it's
I go
good
back there
right
three
now.
times a year.
We've checked
I
this
golf
with
with
the
the
court.
police officers.
We've checked this with the RCMP out there. This is a warrant right now for your arrest, right now.
That's a really good question, too. We have learned that the prison cracked down on the inmate since that book left the prison. He's now no longer at Kent Institution. Authorities hoping that if he and Picton are separated, there will be no more books.
McRae was eventually convicted in 2005 of 3 other rapes based on DNA evidence. The Supreme Court found those crimes were similar to the Ivan Henry offenses, but the trail ended there, saying McRae died sometime thereafter. CTV's W5 caught up with McRae in 2014.
I did what I did, okay?
And that's McRae talking on the phone this week with words for his 3 victims.
I wouldn't know what to say to them, in all honesty.
An apology?
I'm sure I fucked their lives up really bad, and for that, I mean, there's no way to apologize for that kind of shit.
They take the little glass there, that's got the naloxone in it itself.
Yeah.
And they put that in the needle and then just jab it into a muscle. And that is usually enough to counteract a regular heroin overdose. But these new drugs, the carfentanyls and the fentanyls out there, are so bad, it takes more than one, sometimes many of these to counteract it. And that's one thing we were hearing from officials is it's in that way it's out of control.
It's an uncomfortable scene, but this is normal for Patricia and Jessica. This is the reality of street drugs.
As we are talking to them, one of them has a reaction and passes out in the street. And so I have this with me then, and we're supposed to be objective as news reporters, right? But I challenge anyone to be objective, and so my hand was on this thing, getting ready to use it, getting ready to call 911.
If you think having a can full of open garbage in the hallway is a problem, check this out. An entire utility room full of trash.
The report was originally billed as a response to James and Len's, but reading it, it's clear the investigators are not done. They are still going. They are looking at trips going back farther than the original 18-month period. Some expenses brought up went all the way back to 2011. First-class flights, expensive headphones, and other gifts.
Does the Liberal Party take millions of dollars from big donors and turn around and give billions of dollars of taxpayers' money back?
It isn't true.
But the source that they're talking about is the public disclosure at Elections BC.
The connection that you just made is not accurate.
He says he's allowed 1 hour a day to make telephone calls, and for the past few years, Robert Picton has been calling me. He repeats his claims of innocence in every conversation and still suggests someone else was to blame for the murders at his Port Coquitlam pig farm.
So I got on a standard, so I could blow the whole thing apart.
Is this crisis worse than an AIDS epidemic?
The actual answer, we looked at this, and the actual answer is yes. In 1994, the most number of people in BC died of AIDS. That was 267. So just last year, we're already 3.5 times worse than that. They do have several charges, at least one conviction that has resulted from their investigations, but they also have hundreds of videos. So what happened to those other hundreds of people? Were they guilty? Were they innocent?
Croker didn't respond to our attempts to contact him, so we approached him at a public meeting.
Can we take this outside? Yeah, for sure.
We go outside, but he stays. The door locks.
Did he just kick us out of the meeting?
JIBC President Dr. Michelle Tarko came out next.
The epicenter of millions of dollars
and I'd like to
in money laundering.
So I invite you to reach out to the ministry.
We have already done that. They haven't answered our questions. And we really think it's of public interest to be able to come and ask questions of us.
Why didn't they try to stop it from getting it out?
Yeah, my correction says they're investigating that, but they say they can't trample on inmates' freedom of speech without specific exceptions like stopping a threatening letter, for example.
The awards recognize excellence in journalism right here in BC, including our very own Jon Woodward. He joins us now to chat about his 2 awards and his nomination for his 3rd. Welcome, Jon.
Thanks very much, Carrie.
And congratulations on your nomination for your 3rd Jack Webster Award.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge honor.
Yeah, and so you've already won 2. What does this honor mean to you?
Well, you can't get a more famous or better known name in journalism than Jack Webster. I mean, he was an icon for much of last century, and he has some really amazing stories. He's just known as this plain talking guy who got right through the issues and was able to speak to the average British Columbian. So to have my name in the same region of his is actually a huge honor.
Johnson's camera has a 360-degree pan and tilt. It can take pictures, it can record video, so his operators have a visual record of anything he comes across. Now it's time to sit together and eat as friends. You know, I kind of like kids' Valentine's Day. It's actually kind of sweet. Police gave the driver hundreds of dollars in fines, and as for the doll, she was taken into police custody, where we got our exclusive interview. Or tried to. We've been in the RCMP interrogation room for a while now. She's not talking. And what's a bit galling about this is it actually is very easy to find a rider for your spare seat in your car. There are all kinds of online tools, including something invented by a BC company called Spare Rides, which will use a smartphone app to connect your empty seat with a passenger, and it will even arrange for that passenger to pay you money for gas. Although you might have to talk to them. Tamara?
All right. Thanks, Jon.
This property here in northern Chilliwack looks like your average suburban home. But as you can see, it was once part of a larger farm.
And making sure that they have a great experience at YVR.
Isn't it a great experience getting some money back if you've been bumped?
Okay, I think it's time to shut the interview down.